brothers. I am here today to explain to you why I am running as the Party for Socialism and Liberation's mayoral candidate in New York City. When you look around the city, it is obvious, not just in this room, but to millions of New Yorkers, that we need something new. Unemployment is rising across the city. It's not just Harlem that's suffering anymore, it's all over the city. Foreclosures and evictions are going through the roof. Police harassment and abuse is still the first order of business in our Black and Latino communities. In other words, millions of people are finally finding out what capitalism is all about. This is what happens when the good of the few, the rich, the CEOs, the bankers, the corporations, is put ahead of the good of the millions. This is a result of an economy that is set up to take the wealth of the millions and hand it over to our modern day king and princes who reap the benefits and then make decisions that we all in this room suffer from. I'm here because we need a new system. This city's wealth and the wealth of this country should be put in the service of the people who create it. We may be today's poor and working class, but we are the only ones that can get us out of the system of poverty, racism, and war. We know what the political establishment has to offer. We have Bloomberg, the richest man in the city, who's worth $16 million. I don't know about any of you, but it's gonna take more than $20 million in ads for me to believe that Bloomberg's the people's candidate. Then there's Bill Thompson. You know, as a student advocate, I've had a chance to hear Thompson's speech, from firsthand. He's not a billionaire himself. He didn't grow up in the wealthy suburbs of Boston. He tells us he's on our side, right? But Thompson has been the city's comptroller, what is sometimes called the city's financial officer, since 2002. He's supposed to expose fraud. He's had a chance to expose the bankers and the bailouts. He sees where the money goes. Isn't that the biggest fraud of all? Cover it up? I'm here because we need a new kind of politics. Not the politics where the billionaires and the loyal servants run the show in the interest of the rich, but where common people like you and me have a say-so in making the system to work in our own interest. I just mentioned the politicians, I just mentioned the candidates for the big business parties. But they're not even the main problem. The ones with the real power in the city are not elected. I already mentioned Bloomberg is the richest man in the city. But who comes after him? I don't know if any of you have heard about David Koch. His billions come from only the largest privately held company in the United States, an oil outfit called Koch Industries. He also has a public spirit. He ran under the US vice president ticket for the right-wing Libertarian Party in 1980. You've all heard the big names like Trump and right-wing billionaire Rupert Murdoch. But what about Richard Lefrak, whose family's name still hovers over the huge apartment complex in Queens? His family controls 70,000 apartments in the city. Like the days of the Middle Ages, those are 70,000 families handing over their monthly earnings just to have a roof over their heads. But then 600 families in the city face eviction every month. There are 60 to 70 billionaires in the city. They control over $200 billion of the city's wealth. Those 70 people. And by the way, let's not forget about Ray Kelly. He's not a billionaire and he's not elected, but he gives orders for what you might call the New York City Billionaires Private Army, the NYPD. I will tell you this, the first thing I